Hello and welcome to the Hoof GP. Today we're on our way to a farm that has some great beef cattle, and we're going to run all of their cows past us and check which ones would benefit from a little hoof trimming. This is the Hoof GP, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, click the button right down below and join our herd. But for now, let's crack on and enjoy the rest of the video. There's my mummy's coffee shop. We have the upper hand. So we're headed to a little farm that is only a few miles from our house, and I've known the lady who owns the farm and runs it pretty much all of my life. She was actually my gym teacher or PE teacher for a little while, and she's a lovely woman. So it's nice to go back there. And what we do is we run all of the cattle past, and anything at all, or any cow at all, or bull. What we do is we run the whole herd of animals past the crush, and we pick out all of the ones that are slightly overgrown or not walking perfectly, and we do everything we can to get them back to full health. How's your life? Right now life's good for me, really good. But I know it's not like that for everyone. I wish it was. Tell me how your life is right now. What's good, what's bad, what's ugly, and what you're looking forward to.
When I see you dance and the moment comes when I fall and time goes slow, I fall into you. I fall into you.
When we get to the farm, Doogie is busy cracking on with cleaning out this shed to make sure that it's as comfortable and perfect as possible for us to start trimming. We've already been to a farm this morning, and we don't get to this farm until 12:30, so we really need to get cracking. Because of the pandemic, I haven't been back to this farm as regularly as I normally would have been, which also means I've never been back here with this crush in tow, so I'm really glad it wasn't hard to get in.
We use these mats to level up everything when we're on a slight slope. Windy today.
I said it wasn't hard to get the crush in, not that it wasn't hard for me to get back in the pickup.
Did that like a ballerina. Perfect! Most of the time we get backed up against their own crush, and then we'll tie these gates to the front of their crush. Get it nice and rigid so the cows can't escape. Or at least that's the idea. Doesn't always go to plan, does it, Craig?
Not always.
Craig just noticed we're going to smack the light bulb as well, so we'll tie it up out of the way.
I really feel that I need to point out, usually we would wait until we'd smash that light bulb and then decide to tie it out of the way.
Beautiful. So we always have these blocks sitting out ready just to go, to make sure things go as quickly as possible. We have a barking dog in the background. Let's go and say hello. Shummy boy. Yo. Oh.
So we're systematically going to work our way through all of the sheds here that are housing these cows. Doogie and Heather are going to work their way through and decide which cows have any overgrowth and which ones look uncomfortable. They're going to draw them off into little lots, pull them into the shed, and then we're going to trim them one by one.
Craig just made up a good point. The crush might hit the roof.
All I need is you now and always. You and me.
It's nice to get started. Absolutely chucking it down outside just now as well, so I'm glad we're inside. He's so noisy.
Less noise. Although Heather's cows missed out on some routine trimming, the vast majority of them are still in great shape. Most of them are just like the cow I'm trimming in the background right now, so it doesn't take long for us to start racking up the numbers.
We could run away. You and me together, baby, we don't gotta stay. Let's lose our minds.
This is our second farm today actually. We had 4 bulls and 2 cows this morning. And now we're here at Heather's. Luckily it was outside this morning, inside this afternoon, which has worked out perfectly, weather-wise.
The cows we're trimming here are beef cows, and we trim their feet in exactly the same way as we would if it was a dairy cow. But they get far less problems because the digital cushion, or the fat pad within their feet, is much thicker, because their body condition score, or their muscle mass and fat mass, is much higher than that of a dairy cow. In other words, they've got much better insoles for their shoes.
Each other, you and me, and me. We could run away. You and me together, baby, we don't gotta stay.
Farmers right across the world often spend thousands upon thousands of pounds and dollars every year just to make sure their cows are walking as perfectly as possible.
Craig's on the coffees. And Graham's getting my free cup. Look at that. How awesome is that? So we've trimmed exactly 20 cows right now and we're getting on really well. We've only put 1 block on. It was only for a very mild little problem. Heather says there are some that do have some more serious problems with kind of long-term issues. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do for them. Sun's come out as well. Oh. I know people talk about local places and everybody knowing each other, but this farm is a great example of it. Doogie Kilty is the guy bringing in the cows and doing all the hard work around this farm. And I've known him probably all of my life. And Heather used to be my old school teacher. So yeah, everybody around here is pretty much interlinked. And when I was younger, I used to really hate it because everybody knew your business. And now, probably couldn't like it anymore. I used to live in the city. And when I lived in the inner city, it was a pretty lonely place, believe it or not. Hundreds of thousands or even millions of people in the city, but nobody knows anyone. So nobody needs to have the same courtesy they do in rural areas like this. Because if you cut somebody up here or you speak rudely to them, then word gets around, good or bad. So I'm not sure how many more we've got to do. We've only been here 2 hours so far, so we're not doing badly. The cows are a bit more noisy than usual here because some of them are being separated from their calves just for this half an hour or so to get their feet trimmed. But just like a new mum, they do not like to be separated from their calves once that bond has been struck or formed between mother and calf.
We're bringing the cows across the farmyard 1 shed at a time, and of course, like children let out in a playground, they run riot. And when we try to ask them to do something, they really don't seem to like the idea.
That was easy.
Beef cows are usually handled a lot less frequently than dairy cattle are, which means they're a lot more of a handful. Luckily for us though, Heather's setup works really well, and like I said earlier, their feet really don't need a lot of work, so we can get through them fairly quickly. Until this cow comes in. And we're in for a whole lot more than we bargained for. I could tell straight away that she had some degree of toe necrosis, so in other words, the toe was starting to die and that was decaying the horn around it. But I didn't quite realise there was a hole straight through her foot. different colorations of the horn is purely pigmentation, but that black part right on the toe of the lateral claw, the outer one, is decaying horn, and it's completely loose, ragged and jaggy, so we need to get rid of it all before we can start to make this cow feel more comfortable.
I'll let you into my mind. Cover the fallen tears that have been on the sleeve.
The block we've applied effectively makes the inside claw bigger, so it lifts the outer claw completely off the ground and hopefully helps to alleviate the pain and allow the foot to regrow. And just watch how she walks out of the crush.
Stop the clocks, the bees are humming in.
She is bearing her full weight on that digit, which is great for me to see. And with that, it's on to the next cow.
Lights are out and heaven's open. We can be everything we want. Oh.
Weather's taking a turn for the worse. This is what the weather's like pretty much all the time here. Sunny 1 second, chucking it down the next. And then hailstones the next. That's brutal. It's literally the perfect place for these guys for the next couple of months until they calve. And just like that, the sun's back out. Here come the girls. Oh, what's he doing there? Look how healthy they look. Yes, they have dirt on them because they're cows.
As Craig and I continue to trim the cows, Doogie and Heather are constantly working and sorting through the cows to decide which ones would benefit from a trim and which ones would be best left alone. And then this cow comes in, one of my old favourites. This is a cow I saw 3 years ago for the first time, and the bone actually fell out the bottom of her foot. At the time, we said that this cow would possibly be best put away, but she was going fantastically well within a month of first seeing her. And now, fast forward 3 years, and this is the condition she's in today. Yes, there is a lot of overgrowth. Yes, it looks uncomfortable, but she is sound. Once we remove all of this loose horn, she will be perfectly comfortable again. This is not a standard trim, and this is not how I would usually recommend to trim a cow's foot. But I know this cow's history. I know there is no pedal bone in there, and I know I can trim back a lot of that excess horn. Trimming a cow like this is slow going, and I could take away huge amounts of horn in very short periods of time, but we need to be as careful as possible and do as much for this cow's comfort as we possibly can, which is why you see me return again and again with the grinder and then again with the knife, just to make sure that I'm being as careful as possible.
That makes me happy. Just like that, 6 PM and we're on the last 2 cows. And they're last because they've already had their calves. And we've been using them as bait to get them into the crush. Look, twins and a single. happy to be back with them. All we've got to do now is wash up. I say we, I mean Craig. It's been a long day. It's been a really long day. We don't normally finish this late. It is 6:15 and we've probably got 40 minutes to an hour worth of cleaning to do, so probably home for 7:30. But then we're back out in the morning at 6:15 again. I'm going to be tired tomorrow. These long days, it's not the hours. When it's long, it's quite back-breaking work, especially when the crush is down low. Sorry, I'm trying to reverse right now and talk to you and not knock her shed down. Quite close to look. Will it go in? Yep. Look, my camera's not working very well. Hey, first time. Can't get out though. Craig, I'm a little bit stuck. Time for a diet.
And with that, all that's left to do is clean up and head on home. What a day, and what a beautiful place to live in.